Has your life been affected by character assassination? Has your life been affected by something called character assassination? Okay. A lot of people seem to be struggling with this issue, especially nowadays with this shame culture, cancel culture thing. Everybody's living in this fear. They're going to say something or do something that they regret and be pinpointed, right? Get attacked by people based on a false impression. Okay, a false impression of them. So, character assassination is the deliberate destruction of an individual's reputation, credibility, or status. Okay, so sometimes, hey, presidential campaigns have to deal with this stuff too. Okay, if you're a politician, maybe you're watching. Someone might have a smear campaign. You might have heard that word, right? Or you might be struggling with the fact that, okay, I have this self-image and I need to keep this self-image in a very particular way. And you're creating a role strain around that, right? So when someone points it out to you, you can't help but get trapped by the dogma and the narratives of the character identification, which you're currently stuck in. My name is Sumedh Chatterjee. I'm a flow state consultant, a coach, a specialist, a guide. And I'm here to help you go from a fear state of mind to a flow state of mind. Okay. That's been my mission through our magus or magi practice as well. We're looking into the esoteric wisdom and the ancient Vedic wisdom as well, and seeing how we can apply all of these things to a modern shamanic context, right? A practical modern shamanic context, okay? Because we're dealing with these altered states of mind, and we've understood that on this process, the subconscious mind or the unconscious mind runs most of our lives, okay? So when you're being character assassinated, you're being taken over like Assassin's Creed, like, this group of people against you, or you feel like there's a looming figure in the dark shadows. There is no dark shadow. The enemy is within. You see? The shadows that you're being reflected on the outside of people that supposedly hate you or jealous of you or feel all these insecurities around you, or make you seem important and or trying to bash you down or whatever they're doing, right? It reflects more about who they are than who you are. You get what I mean? Okay. Sometimes it has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with their own storyline and the picture which they're portraying. Okay. So they have one outside perspective, an outsider's view. Ooh, so scary. Okay. But they don't know the real you. And this is the true power. No one can access that deep Shambhala state. What I call that is that your reservoir of inner peace and sanctity and saneness. No one can access that, you see? No one has access there. It is where you go and replenish yourself. And then from there, you start expanding, right? You start growing. You start feeling better. You feel more energized. You can sleep less time, but still feel energized when you're in that space, okay? So sometimes it's good to go inwards, figure some things out about yourself, and do shadow work during this time of character assassination, because it's the best time to do it. Okay, remember the whole RSD Julian scandal, if you guys are familiar with that, okay? RSD Julian, they're part of a dating company, okay? And he started getting a lot of accusations of being derogatory or, unsafe, things like this, right? And he got his whole image, his whole character assassinated on public television by media, right? Everyone thinking that he's this horrible person, but now that man is running these retreats all across the world, and he's transforming people's lives. So think about that. That is a great concept of alchemy. Okay, you can look up Julian Blanc if you look up Julian Blanc, right? You'll understand that this guy's done it. And I'm sure there's plenty of people who've done it. A lot of my mentors have done it, finding ways to go through this pain period where you're going to be like put through the fire and put through all these tests that the universe just keeps giving you. But guess what? The universe isn't like trying to give you tests and like to see if you're deserving or cool enough. Like, I'm sure God or source, has better things to do than zoom in on one person and give them all of these, atrocities and things that are happening. There's probably some level of cause and effect and some kind of internal relationship of something that it's trying to teach you, right, through this process. So don't just push it away and be like, oh yeah, this is just, it's nothing to do with me. Okay. Because sometimes it could mean that you have some inner work to be done. Okay. So I mean, really, is your life like this? Like, it feels like this kind of TMZ article, like people are gossiping around you and rumoring, right? Is that a word? Creating rumors around you, right? And it's going around in the rumor mill. And now you fear that your image has been distorted in some way. The self-concept, which you know so well, so purely throughout these many years, right? And that's changed over time because what? Identity is malleable. That's the beauty of this thing. You don't have to stay in that character assassinated state. You can do certain things that will propel you into the future. You can use that anger that's being triggered and pointed at you as fuel to do something else to auto-correct that situation. You get what I mean? So I first want to state that please ignore the in the background. This is Newtown. I mean, they make hella noise over here. Okay, so please, thank you for understanding that. Okay, and also, this kind of character assassination, this kind of stuff happens mainly in India too. Okay, mainly, because I'll tell you why. Okay, number one, also, it's important to understand that your parents or guest, are revered as a god in India. Okay, so they say that parents are God and guests are God, and so anything we say against that, it's bad. You can't say no to them. You can't disobey them. Okay, you can't talk back to them. You can't do any of these things, and that puts you in kind of like a pressure cooker state, right? As an Indian man or Indian woman watching this, you might feel trapped by the cage of your own potential a lot of times. Okay, and I understand that. Okay, I really understand that. But I'm also here to help you gain a different understanding and a different perspective to this thing, right? Because it's mainly close people to you, right? It's mainly people that you already know. Maybe you're just being mistreated and they don't know how to treat you, right? And you just keep tolerating it. I mean, secretly, if they're doing it, that means that they're more scared of you than you are of them, right? If they're trying to hide and put on this kind of reputation and like, hey, look at me, this is who I am, and this is what I'm doing, and then behind the scenes, everything's messed up. Okay, so one thing to understand is when you find a very deep, profound tribe and they have your back, oh, you can't, man, I don't think you can pay for something like that. You get what I mean? Like you can't pay for something that special. Sure, there might be an investment in terms of, let's say they're an elite group of people and you might need to invest some money to be around them or whatever it is, right? But man, my tribe knows me, bro. Get that? Like the people who understand who Dr. Scripps is, who, Sumed Chatterjee is, who, Master Makara is, which is my higher self, right? They know that, hey, this guy has a pure intention. He's there for good. Okay, so someone who comes at me and look, he's doing tantra, he's demon worshiping, he's doing all of these things. Oh, this is illegal. This is not allowed. Why are you coloring your hair? Why do you have earrings? Why do you have this? Why do you have that? Okay, this will start coming at you. And guess what? As a person of high value and a person of high character, I stick by my moral code and my ethical compass. Okay, that is it. That is it. So my tribe knows me, and I need to make that heard in a sense. I need to get my voice heard. I need to express myself. A lot of people who are called out, you did this, right? You went through this trauma. You got through this thing, right? Someone who's pointing a finger, hey, 4 fingers pointing back, right? 3 fingers pointing back. So if they're pointing a finger at you and you don't say anything, what is it saying? That you're hiding something. Because you're stifling your communication, you're contracting yourself and who you are based on something, on the external world, based on someone else's critique of you. You see what I'm saying? So if someone is trying to critique you or put you in a box, understand that you are a riddle, you are an enigma. No one can truly understand you because you are you, but you are also the formless. You are also connected to the absolute and these metaphysical realms. You could easily reincarnate and become someone completely different, and then you get character assassinated in that timeline too. You see? So your own code is law, just like you have the 10 commandments of Jesus, right? You have that in the Bible, or you have these different rules or laws or doctrines of these different teachings of, the Quran, or of course, let's take it away from the religious texts, but also even these psychological deep imprinting texts, right? Like the Way of the Superior Man, which I recommend to all of my clients who are male, and I mean female as well. If you want to read based on the male context and try to understand how we're thinking, that's a really good book to read, and I would highly recommend that you read it as a woman too, just so you can understand the man's perspective and help him through this journey to really authentically embody and integrate into the man that you know that he can be, right? That's what the feminine does, is this divine nurturing and this support, right? So don't for a second think that you just need to do one and not focus on the other, right? I know as a man, I've got to study female psychology, right? If I'm going to attract a partner, if I'm going to go into a relationship, I have to know what I'm dealing with, right? I can't just kind of wing it. Okay. Yes, I can. I'll learn through the action steps, but then there's also a research and a theorization and a process that you go through, right? So even the Tao Te Ching can teach you a little something in a small passage, and it might seem paradoxical in the moment, but later on, when you reflect on it, it will make different sense to you. Okay. So when you are with a group of people that truly trust you and believe in you, they aren't going to believe what someone else says about you anyway, right? They're always going to come back to you and be like, yo, is this true about you? That these people are talking trash, right? Is that true? Okay. So it starts with this core belief of, I'm a good person, man, and I'm true and authentic to myself and my practice and my protocol and my lifestyle. It starts with that. It starts with, you might not want to hear this, but it starts with that everyday discipline, you showing up for yourself, not just for the life that you're forced to live or being made to live, but for you. The love that you have for yourself on a daily basis. That's what's going to construct something that I like to call emotional leadership. Okay, taking responsibility for your emotions. Let's say you're struggling with anger. Let's say you're struggling with sadness. How do you deal with that emotion on a day-to-day basis? What is your relationship to that emotion? Is it dragging you down into deep depression, your sadness? Is your anger making you almost so neurotic that you start throwing things? Okay, this is where you need emotional regulation to stay firm to who you are. And who you are, of course, is a lifetime practice. Okay, you don't just come into the world like you know, an Adonis, right? Like with a six pack and like jawline and everything, right? You don't come like that into the world. You come as a soft little baby, a gelatinous substance, right? Okay. And I'm not comparing babies to, I'm not objectifying babies, but I'm just saying, they're fully formed, right? It's like they're malleable at that point, right? They're so teachable in that sense. You get what I'm saying? So you've got to make your consciousness teachable, almost like a child or a baby, right? You've got to be curious and open to learning and not just pinpoint and add conclusions like this person is trying to shame me and therefore they're the bad person, right? Or, hey, maybe it has nothing to do with you, right? We don't know that. So we got to stay firm to who you are first and foremost, and also understand that you got to be the embodiment of the preservation of life. That evolution that happens on a regular basis, make that one of your highest values, okay? Because this is really what has helped me on this process, right? Jealousy is not always easily understood, sometimes it's very, very deep rooted for certain individuals and certain people, right? So if somebody's being jealous of you, man, you don't know what's going on in their heads, okay? They could be relating from some past, projection from someone they knew who kind of looked like you. I've had many people come up to me and they'd be like, have I seen you in a show or a podcast? Are you a celebrity? Are you doing this? Are you doing that? Just because of my mannerisms, right? And so, of course, I'm going to manifest an awesome life because I'm already projecting, right, and broadcasting that state. Not projection in the sense of psychology there, right? Just actual like broadcasting, right? Like a system, like a movie projector, right? The real projection is like, let's say you're cheating on someone, and then you say that that person is cheating on you instead, right? You try to deflect in it. So that's kind of like projection on a psychological level. But yeah, I meant that differently in terms of that. So, they can go really, really ham, right? Ham means hard as a motherfucker, okay? For some of you who are not that millennially equipped, okay? So they might go ham, right? They might go hard on that, but it dies out after a while. Why? Because it's temporal. Okay. I mean, anxiety, think about that, is just temporal dislocation, right? Which is time travel. Okay. Anxiety is time travel. You're going to the future. You're traveling into the future and seeing this horrible future, like this dystopic worldview, right? And then you're coming back and you're going, oh no, everything's going to come crumbling down, and then it's going to affect my sister and my parents, and then this will happen, and then that will happen. And you try to, it starts to stack like a domino effect in your mind, and your nervous system just flares up, right? And it has to deal with these overwhelming emotions. Okay. So again, it's going to die out, but it's only going to die out if you have a solid foundation or fuel, right? They need your fuel in order to thrive. The person who's assassinating your character, they need you to argue and respond and go back and forth with this bullying or this argument, right? But once they're doing that and they don't see a response from you, right? Like this one woman, you know, uh, it's a mom of one of the IMC guys, right? And she keeps commenting on like our posts because she's scared that this guy left his poor medical school degree. Oh no. And she fears that she joined this cult, which I'm a part of. Okay. It's not a cult, first and foremost. Okay. It's not a cult. Number two, you're ridiculous. Okay. But like, let's say something like that, right? She keeps finding all the members of our group, of our tribe, and making silly comments that have nothing to do with anything. Okay, her own weird interpretive reality of what things are happening, right? So, like, I just made a random post the other day, and she was like, "Oh, that's great. So why don't you post out some fire emojis and instead get them as tattoos all over your body?" Okay, has nothing to do with me. I don't know where that came from. Okay, whoa, what? I said, thanks. I'll consider it, or whatever I said, right? Hmm. Now, what if I said, hey, what do you mean? Fuck you, get out of here, blah, 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 blah. Right? What if I had a trauma response to that? That's affecting me deeply and personally, right? But this thing isn't personal, it has nothing to do with me. It's how she perceives our mentor or whatever, right? And so that's what's coming across, bro. You get what I mean? Like, some of the IMC guys know this, right? Like, bro, even Adam, who's like, you know, I'm sure he's come to terms with it as well. Why don't you try talking to him instead of going to people's profiles and like, I'm sure like this is the kind of like fear, right? Of course, a mother's going to do everything that she can to protect her child. Of course, even if it means, silly comments based off someone's post or that has nothing to do with them, but then they're projecting onto them, right? So they'll start looking more and more ridiculous as they keep doing that because bring it on, bring it on. Keep on making fake profiles, keep on giving fake names, rest in your anonymity and just, continue doing this. But guess what? That's not what a beautiful, pure human would do. You get what I mean? They wouldn't have a reactionary trauma response and then go start attacking someone and hating on them. That's coming from a deep-rooted fear and a pain. And I feel for you, ma'am. Okay, I really do. If you're watching this video, if you come across me somehow, I get it. But your argument and your impression of me has nothing to do with me, has everything to do with your own worries and your own fears. Okay? But I can guarantee you your son is in good hands. I can guarantee you. Why? Because this result works. It works for me and it works for all the other brothers that I'm a part of, right? All the other brothers can't deny, okay? When the girl walks in with the itty bitty waist and nothing around thing in your face, you get sprung, okay? That's Sir Mix-a-Lot, by the way. Again, for some of you older chaps, okay? You might not know these names. Okay, if you're Gen Z, you might not know Sir Mix-a-Lot. Who knows, right? Anyway, so keep smiling, man. That's my main mission, okay? Just keep smiling. And what I would also say, man, is stay on your square. Stay in your lane, right? Even though that's a prison term, we can use it another way, right? Stay in your square. Stay in your little box, okay? What you're good at, what you know, what you're authentic with. I'm going to stay in my flow state little box for a very, very long time. And it's going to keep expanding that box because I'm getting out of my comfort zone, right? Every day, it's not going to be the same box. It's going to be a little bit more stretched out, right? Okay. So all opinions at that point, when you're just thriving, man, and you're winning and you're loving life, man, all the opinions are just null and void, bro. Get what I mean? Like consistency and discipline overrides a lot of your problems. If you outcreate your problems and you keep doing what you've always done without any like, you know, fear-based reaction, like let's say you're going to have a reaction to somebody, just take 3 conscious breaths before you respond. I'm in the now. I'm in the now. I'm in the now. I'm not projecting into the future, right? Temporal dislocation, going into the future where I'm hitting them over the head with a baseball bat or something, right? Some kind of violent imagery if I'm pissed off at someone assassinating my character, right? You want to assassinate them in response, right? It becomes this competitive drive or this edge or whatever. Like, let's say a news article or a blog wrote something about you that is completely false, right? Just slanders you, right? Not completely, not even true. A lot of people will get FIRs and like all these, lawyers involved, and oh my God, I'm going to sue them and I'm going to hit them back. Listen, bro, in a month's time, people are going to forget about that blog article. Forget that blog article, bro. You need to start doing so many cool things that your life value, your improvisational quality of versatility and adaptability of your flow state essence just keeps is weaving past that nonsense, okay? That mind chatter essence. It's weaving past it because it's that much confident in its own process. You get what I mean? It's that like, okay? Don't make your friends' enemies your own enemies, straight up. This is another great tip because that's going to reflect your character too. How you behave is going to reflect your character, okay? When I say something, I mean it. Now, it might happen from some level of a response. Like I love transmuting energy, right? Like for instance, the other day someone said something that kind of pissed me off a little bit. I was doing shadow work, okay? That's my excuse, right? No justification there, but still, it's more difficult when you're doing deep, shadow work. It's easy to go back to your old habits. It's easy to just, band-aid it and move ahead. But I decided to make a video, and it's like, I'm sick and tired of you not taking action on your spiritual journey. Okay, enough is enough. You need to take this more serious. And I just went into it, right, and just posted that video. I'm sure some people responded to that, right? They recognized that this is something that is very, very true to me, actually. You know what? That guy's completely right. I'm not taking my spiritual journey seriously. I'm looking at spirituality as a bunch of fluffy little, things happening, fairies running around and stuff like this. Speaking of fairies, we contacted the fairy king of darkness yesterday. And that might be very strange for some of you to hear and say, but this is really what we do for fun, right? We contact these different beings, these spirits, these entities, or whatever you want to call them, right? They're friends at this point now. They're family at this point now. They don't have any classifications or dogmatic labels. They just are what they are. And we got help from this guy. His name is a Kurbo. And well, he's not a human being, so I can't really call him a guy, but you know what I mean, right? The essence, the frequency that we tapped into is that. And, something that we learned is, he was treating everything like a libertine, you know, and liber, if you are familiar with the Greek god liber, which is associated with freedom. He's also known as the free father, okay? So more on that later in terms of the Primal Sutra protocol, but yeah, man, if you guys are feeling you need some updates on our process and what's happening, that's what happened last night. Okay, we randomly came across this. I was so overwhelmed, confused with all these things happening in my mind, and I was like, "Yep, we need to do this." Ryan helped me out, right? Ryan's my business partner, and together we kind of facilitated it and figured it out. And then we found his connection to his inner star gateway chakra, which is very low. It's low down, right? So we work with the undersoul and the oversoul, right? So two different points there that we focus on. A lot of people only look at the 7 chakras and then they're done, right? But we look at the entire spectrum, and it keeps growing, right? It keeps growing, and slowly we're figuring out which of the deities are connected to which of these essences, and we're moving forward like that. So it's a very, very interesting time right now. We're doing a lot of exploration in terms of characters. Oh man, actually this is something I discovered from, I think TXL told me, right? Yeah, so TXL randomly showed up and he was like, I see us like Beerus. Like he said, I was more like Beerus, so I'm more associated with the Shiva essence of that destructive quality. And by the way, guys, watch this scene. Okay. Now, some Indians might find the scene offensive because, of course, you can't beat Lord Shiva, bro. Like, what are you talking about? How do you even beat that? But this is Shiva before his god form, I believe, or something like that, where his arms are getting like, he's losing his arms, but he's still fighting, and you know what I mean? Like he's still going forward. And I looked at that and I understood that his fire dance, right, his angry dance, where he changed his Shiva form, like that was so powerful for me because Shiva's the one beyond time and death, right? That is that flow state essence of that deathless state. That is that, Turiya, as we look at it. That really is like Lord Shiva stays in that, and he is consciousness himself, right? He is that container. He's the god of gods. He's not just a god, right? And so, anyway, that scene was cool. But yeah, Beerus, right, in Dragon Ball Z. Um, and I'm writing this all down in my confirmation journal, right? Something where I'm actively working on my character archetype and I'm just crystallizing it with motion, right? With action. Because that's what the Fairy King said too. He was like, stop hesitating. Stop hesitating so much. Stop leaving it to the last minute, right? You just got to go. So Beerus said something. I was watching a best moments of Beerus or something like that on YouTube, and he said, "Don't try to understand me. You have no idea." Yeah, I just got to end this video here, man. How powerful is that statement? Okay? Don't try to understand me. You have no idea, right? So a lot of us as mystics, as rebels, as misfits, right? We feel like we don't fit in. We feel like we don't belong. But guess what, man? I'm not trying to be understood by anybody. Okay? I'm fine with being misunderstood. Oh, that brings you such a power, especially with character assassination, bro. Don't try to understand me. You have no idea. Say that to yourself. You think you know, but you have no clue what you're talking about. Wow. That at least flares up my solar plexus and makes me want to, so it sounds encouraging to me. So I hope it sounds encouraging to you too, bro, and or sis. Thank you for watching. Have an incredible day. May the flow be with you and stay legendary. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, notification bell, so you're getting this optimum hit of positive exploration energy from me. We all got this. We're all gonna make it. Upward spiral gang. You already know. Let's go.